from Tyson's Playground in Vienna, Virginia. This is a very special edition of the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network's Boxing on Beltway Post-Fight Wrap-Up Show. Boxing on Beltway Post-Fight Wrap-Up Show is brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief, from boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain and muscle strain, everything between. Boxing on the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, safe, plant-based, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, we have great weight loss tips that she has for you, as well as great jewelry on Deborah, DEBRA Spears.com. I'm Gary Digital Williams, joined by Juan Marshall and I. We're going to do a couple things as we finish out our last Beltway boxing card for 2018. We're going to, of course, recap the card we just had. T.A.C Promotions. We didn't have a chance to broadcast it for you, primarily because I was serving as a ring announcer this evening. But also, we're going to kind of look at last week, since I didn't get a chance to do a podcast last week. We're going to look at Juan Marshall's report of the card that took place at Bowie State University last Saturday. Talk about a couple things as far as the amateur is concerned. And then Juan and I are going to kind of recap 2018 before we get into our year-end awards coming up latter part of this month and early next year. So Juan, first let's talk about this card. Our main event was Juan De La Cruz Rodriguez out of Haymarket, Virginia. Just can't seem to get a break, I guess. And he lost a 6-round unanimous decision to the returning Michael Slick Anderson of Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, Rodriguez is the one we saw him early in his career, but from that point on, we haven't really seen much of him. And, we hear about him fighting out of town, and then all of a sudden he has maybe over close to 20 fights or so, and he wasn't doing too well. And with this fight right here, for some reason, he seems like in his last few fights we saw him in, he seemed like to get outboxed all the time. Yeah. And it basically was pretty much the same tonight. He looked slow. Michael Anderson, we heard was a pretty good fighter. And he proved that he was, the speed, the ability to land shots on Rodriguez. And Rodriguez made an effort to try to land some shots on Anderson. And he actually connected on to some of those shots to woke Anderson up a little bit, to let Anderson know that he needed to step up his game. And that's what he did. Right.
And two of the judges, Michelle Myers and Mark Gentile, had about 58-55. Brian Costello had a little closer, 57-56. Michael Anderson had not fought in a couple years himself, but it didn't seem to matter. Again, he was seen to be in control, and he won the bout by unanimous decision. Michael Slick Anderson now 17-2-1, 12 KOs, and Juan De La Cruz Rodriguez, he falls once again in his pro career 8-13-1 with 6 KOs. Also on the card, Antoine Taylor out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He lost a 6-round by 5th round knockout to Arman Gaziza Mrkanovic of Bosnia, now fighting out of Queens, New York. And that was a cruiserweight bout, and Mrkanovic was in complete control of that bout over Antoine Taylor.
Taylor. To me, he just wasn't in it. He was just maybe trying to survive. And what Mrkanovic was able to do was just overpower him. It looked a little sluggish at the beginning of the bout, but once Mrkanovic found his range and started actually throwing more shots, right, he found out that the quantity of shots that he was throwing, where he was able to get in some of those shots and able to hurt Taylor. And that's when he made the big shot. I think it was the second round. He landed an overhand right and dropped him down in the third round. He landed that nice overhand right with a heavy overhand right that sent Taylor down to the canvas. Taylor made the count, but Mrkanovic came right back and knocked him down to close the round out.
Right, he had standing 8 count right at the end of the third round. And also, there was a situation in the 4th round, I believe it was, and Brent Bovell explained it to you just as we were on the air, that he knocked Taylor. That kind of pushed Taylor out of the ring, and he had a 20 count because he was out of the ring.
Yeah, it was a flurry of punches that came that Taylor was off balance, but since they were punches, it sent him through the ropes. And the referee, Brent Bovell, just actually came to me and explained the whole situation. He gets a mandatory 18 count, but he gets a 20 count because I think it was because he was out of the ring. So that's how that prevailed. And I think that alone, I think it was the Makanovich just was too strong for him. Just the tally of punches that he was throwing and landing on Taylor wasn't able to recover, even getting knocked out off balance and out of the ring anyway.
Right. So Makanovich now 9-3 with 4 KOs. The ending coming at 2:55 of the 4th round. 9-3, 4 KOs for Makanovich, and Antoine Taylor, who is the son, by the way, one of the sons of former heavyweight champion Tony TNT Tubbs. He's now 4-8 with 2 knockouts. Other bouts on the card, a great performance for Filip Stankovic. He is out of Arlington, Virginia by way of Serbia, and he had a large Serbian contingent here tonight that included the Serbian ambassador to the United States. His name is George Matkovic, and he seemed to be very pleased at Filip Stankovic, who scored a first-round knockout, 252 of the first round against Keith Collins of Davenport, Iowa.
Yeah, Stankovic, from the time the round started, it was just all power. It was body shots, it was head shots, and actually it was the perfect placement of the body shots that Stankovic took advantage of when Collins was covering up. He was throwing shots to the body, and once Collins started feeling those body shots, he raised his hands. He dropped his hands down a little bit to try to use his elbows to cover up the fight, cover up his body, and that's when Stankovic immediately started going into the head, and it was just a flurry of shots that the referee just had to stop the fight. It was just too much power for him.
Yeah, no question about that. Once again, the bout stopped at 252 of the first round. Stankovic remains undefeated, gets his first pro victory, and he is now 4-0 with 1 KO. Keith Collins loses for his career. He's lost a number of bouts here, and some of the officials saying hi, happy holidays to you.
Happy Merry Christmas.
You do the same. Same to you, my dear. Same to you. Great officials, Michelle Myers, Mark D'Antio coming by wishing us happy holidays. We do that to you as well, and we'll do it a little bit later on. So Keith Collins once again loses. He's lost now. He's a veteran of 44 fights. Also on the card tonight, Beltway boxing rematch as Rashad Kobu Kilpatrick out of Waldorf, Maryland. He won a 4-round unanimous decision over Lamont White out of Washington, D.C. because Lamont White continues never to be knocked out and was in no real danger of being knocked out today. But White was just in good form tonight and went on to the easy victory.
Yeah, with Kilpatrick, actually, the first round was a more competitive round out of all the rounds. Both fighters were evenly distributing punches on each other. White even had Kilpatrick back up into the corner at times, where Kilpatrick's corner was actually telling him, move off the corner, and White took advantage of that. But the thing is, Kilpatrick was the one to make those adjustments and came back on in those last 3 rounds to put some combinations together, better footwork, better defense, and to take advantage of White and then get the unanimous decision.
So Lamont for Rashad Kilpatrick now 4-0 with 1 KO. Lamont White falls in his career. He's 1-16-1 with 1 knockout. But again, second versus Sanford, they fought a few months back, and Kilpatrick won that bout by 4-round unanimous decision as well. Also on the card tonight, great performance for Nathaniel, now known as the Juggernaut, Copeland Jr. He is out of all of Prince George's County. That's how he wanted me to announce it tonight, all of Prince George's County. And he made Prince George's County very proud, scoring a knockout in just 44 seconds over crazy Hollywood Horton out of Waldorf, Maryland.
With Copeland coming into this bout, he had so much built up in because he's supposed to start a couple of months back. I think it was on another promoter's card, area promoter card, and that bout fell out. So he was anticipating a pro debut back then. So he's double time in the gym, preparing for this fight, and he let it all hang out when the bell when the bell rang. He came out and landed a 2-punch combination to send send Horton to the canvas and actually hurt Horton. When referee Billy Johnson stopped him, stopped the bout. He saw it and he came over and told me. He said he just saw it in his eyes that he was just pretty much out of it.
Yeah, his eyes were blinking all throughout, and Dr. Greg Pleasance really had to take a look at him as well. But he seemed to be okay. Walked down on his own power. So Daniel Copeland, who fought well in the Golden Gloves and Mayor's Cup over the last few years, comes out and makes his pro debut successful. He's trained by the great Andrew Council and Quasi Horton, now 0-2. Also in the card, had I would call it a minor upset only because the boxer Jordan Rosario out of Jersey City, Jersey, had lost his first 7 fights. Actually, he was 0-6-1 going in his bout against the debuting Thomas Harthauser, originally from Finland, now fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. But and Rosario was outweighed by Harthauser almost 10 pounds. I mean, it was almost a 9-pound difference. Rosario came in 155.4 pounds, and Harthauser had 164.8 pounds. But it was Jordan Rosario who'd win a split decision tonight, a 4-round split decision over Harthauser here this evening.
You know, even we always talked about it when we, you know, come on the air when we see pro debut fighters. Mm-hmm. In the past, we talked about they got to be cautious on the opponents they choose, and I think Harthauser's his team looked at the size difference and took that fight thinking that would be the advantage that they would have. Mm-hmm. But they were looking at they didn't look at the 6 fights that Rosario was in, and they didn't study those 6 fights. I don't have to say go to the tape of it, but just experience-wise coming into the ring. Mm-hmm. And Rosario, that's what he brought into him. The 6 fight experience that he had, he brought it all in and let it all hang out, and he did what he had to do. He stayed in close to the bigger Harthauser, and that made the difference. Staying in close and smothering Harthauser and not letting him get punches off, and then taking advantage of the shots when Harthauser was open and landing those shots inside, and that's what made him win the fight tonight.
So Jordan Rosario wins for the first time. He's now 1-6-1, and Thomas Harthauser falls in his pro debut. And our opening scout tonight, Zach the Kid Dubnov, who in boxing terms is no kid. He's 30 years old, but he made his pro debut and made a successful one, scoring a first-round knockout over the new creation, Eric Plummery of Rockport, New York, by Dubnov from Little Falls, New Jersey. Had won 3 of his last 4 bouts as an amateur before he turned pro, and he scored a knockout over Plummery at 235 for the first round.
Yeah, that actually it was a good bout, a good way to open a card up, you know, with Plummery dropping Dubnov early in
they both dropped each other.
What happened? Yeah, you know, Plummery got the first knockdown, and Dubnov came back and knocked Plummery down, and then started to hurt Plummery a little bit. Actually, a lot. You know, he put some good shots on him, and you know, caused the referee to stop in, because the referee took notice of he was getting hit by those shots, clean shots. You know, and it was starting to get defenseless, and then the referee just kept in and had to stop the fight.
Right, once again stopped at 235 of the first round. So Dubnov makes his pro debut, successful one, and Eric Plummery remains winless after 9 rounds, 10 fights now. So that is the card here tonight. Here tonight from Tyson's Playground, a new facility for us here in the Beltway, and that's a good way to close our 2018 season. Now, before we do, however, I know Juan and I couldn't make because I was at the card. Nice meeting you as well. Thank you. One of the handlers for the main event, Mike Slick Anderson, came over and said hi to us. But before we leave, because you were at the card at Bowie State University, at the A.C. Jordan Arena. I was unable to make it because of my duties with the Capital City Go-Go, but turned out to be a very nice card, looked like, huh?
The card, you know, when Shabazz brothers throw cards, he throws cards that are fan friendly, and also the non-boxing fans will enjoy themselves. Definitely. And he does that, and that's what make his card stand out a lot. And not just the card itself, but the venue, the atmosphere of it. Mm-hmm. And then let's go back to the card. You know, he puts on great cards, you know, great match cards, and that card right there was a terrific match card, and those guys did a great job in performing, and we had some outstanding bouts.
Yeah, definitely. Michael Professor Fox fought well. Good win for Greg Outlaw, and also the main Tyreek Irby main event bout, who was Damon Nicholson, defended his WBC USNBC super middleweight title with a knockout win. So great. You can read all about the card on both our blogs, Pro Am Fight Talk, and on Boxing Law on the Beltway. And before we go any further, of course, we got to congratulate Lamont Rose Jr. successful title defense of his WBO International Super Featherweight Championship. One unanimous decision tonight over Alberto Mercado. That was at Madison Square Garden in New York City. So a good performance for Lamont Rose Jr. And he he just basically, the scores were 99, 91, 98, 92, and 97, 93 for that bout. So again, a great performance for Lamont Roach Jr. Heard it was a tough fight. Ron Harris of the Prince George's Sentinel texted us while we were here and said it seemed to be a very tough fight despite the victory for Lamont Roach Jr. And that just leads us to how we can look at 2018, Juan. I mean, this has been a solid year for us in the sense that all our major players seem to stepped up. Gervonta Davis, Gary Russell Jr., and, of course, Jared Hurd, and also Franchon Cruz DeZern. Tori Nelson had her share of wins and losses, but she had a good year overall. And but it took a little bit of time for our next wave to step up a little bit. And that's what we had to look for going into 2019.
And that's where I'm kind of stuck. I'm looking at this next wave. You know, we have our... And when I say wave, I'm talking about the current fighters that are currently fighting now with under 10 fights going into 2019. You know, what are they going to do to actually blend in to make 2019 a better year to get noticed? And when I say noticed, not just in the local area, we're talking about on the mainstream boxing level. And that's what they had to do, you know.
And we're talking about guys, for example, and just name a few names off the top of our heads. Kobe the Soldier Breedy, who's here tonight. Keyshawn Williams. To a lesser extent, Lamont Roach Jr., but he's still in there in that situation. You're talking about guys like Malik Hawkins, Tyreek Irby. I mean, these are just some of the boxers. Patrick Harris, Demetrius Ballard. I mean, how are these guys going to make their moves in 2019? Those are just some people. I mean, there are many more. Those are just some people off the top of our heads.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're active and they're fighting, but the thing is to make that next move to take the fights that they need to. Like Lamont Roach, prime example, he set himself up pretty well for 2019 with a bout like this. The way he closed out 2018, actually the mid part of 2018 to close out 2018 with another win, you know, to retain his title. And to move him way up in the rankings, you know, I think it was junior lightweight, you know, junior lightweight division, and that's what Golden Boy expectations are for him. But the thing is, now what we're going to do with the other fighters? What kind of fights are they going to take? What kind of fights are they going to actually accept and not turn down? When they're going to challenge themselves to make the right move so they can get in the blend and make more money for themselves? You know, they don't box for free, and I'm pretty sure they're in it for the career. You know, and then a lot of those fighters, they say they want to be title holders. So when they're going to make those moves to become title holders, and that's what they have to go into 2018. You know, not expectations to 2019, closing out 2018. Which is the last fight of this year in this local area, but to go into 2019 with a expectation for themselves and the expectations of their fans that follow them. Their fans been following, and they don't want their fans to start wondering what they're going to do now because they see so many young fighters with less fights than them moving way above them and ahead of them. Right, and that's when fans start to notice. And true boxing fans already know what to look for. So, and that's what they expect. You know, the question is for those fighters, what you're going to do to make the move in to blend in with the rest of these guys.
No question about it. And, of course, on the cusp of that situation, you look at the guys like Damon Nicholson, who may be back into the title picture again very soon. You look at guys like Alexandru Marine, who we just saw today is ranked third in the world now by the IBF. And there's nobody in the second position. So that's very close to a world title shot in the early part of 2019.
And also, you know, Montez Fox, you know, he fought on the previous Louis State card, not this last one, but the previous one, coming off an injury. Right. You know, and he's ranked number 5, I think, in the WBO. I think it is now. I think he's ranked number 5. And so he's set himself up pretty well for 2019. You know, I think Lou DiBella's going to have some moves for him, you know, and that's what the guys want. They want a future for themselves, and they want an idea of how the opening of this next year is going to be for them.
No question. Yeah, so we got that, and also we know of some bouts coming up. It looks like Gervonta Davis will take on Abner Martes on February 9th in, I believe, San Diego. Got a card in January here in the area. March 29th, Lamont Peterson returns against Sergey Lipinets. That's going to be at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. There's a lot of things still going on. And then you look at, on the amateur side, we're getting close to the 2020 trials. And barring any way of amateur boxing kicking itself into the teeth, which is possible, coming down, we've got people in the Beltway who may be leaning toward who are leaning toward 2020, who may be heading that way. I mean, of course, Lorenzo Simpson is taking himself out of contention now because he is now turned pro. He was on that card in Bowie for the first round knockout. But you look at, of course, the three young people from Alexandria, and Amelia Moore, Troy Isley, and Keyshawn Davis. All three of them fought at the USA Youth Nationals and Prep Open. Keyshawn Davis won another gold medal. Isley and Moore came up a little short. So, but they are looking at 2020 coming up in Japan.
And they're going to be the next wave of amateurs at that level that's going to make the transition from turning amateur to pro. And the thing is, after them, what do we have left in the amateur game?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking we're going to wait on these guys that's like the 15, 16-year-olds, wait till they get the age when they can be able to turn professional.
Yeah.
And I think so we're going to be in a era of beltway boxing where things are going to slow down for a little bit, but then they're going to pick up and then they're going to start over and rejuvenate, and then everything's going to kick back off again.
Yeah, no question about it. So it should be a very interesting year coming up in 2019. There's a lot of big things going on. Of course, who knows if Jamal, if Jared Hurd will face Jamel Charlo, and we'll see what happens there. That could be a big bout down the road. Gary Russell Jr., of course, fighting again. Hopefully, Franchon Cruz-Dezern will have a title shot very soon, and who knows what's going to happen down in 2019. Torrey Nelson back on the beam again as well. But it's going to be an interesting 2019. Now, of course, coming up a little bit later on, Juan Marshall and I will have our year-end review, year-end awards, and we look forward to seeing it. Now, we do have one more bout on 2018. That's going to be at Barclays Center in New York. Barclays Center, New York. And that's Brandon Bulldog Quarles on that card. And we do know that the Russell brothers were scheduled to be on that card, but neither Antoine nor Antonio will be on that show on Saturday, December 22nd. So that'll do it here. So that'll do it for that one. So Brandon Quarles, our last beltweight boxer to compete in 2018.
And maybe the next beltway boxing event, professional boxing event, is, I think, tentatively January 19th.
January 19th, yeah.
I think Sci Nation Sports.
Yeah, Sci Nation Sports. It may be in Virginia. We're not sure exactly where it's going to be, actually. We do know that MGM National Harbor will be there March 29th, and it looks like Live Casino will be back in action in March as well. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. So that will do it here for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes and the Boxing on Beltway Post-Fight Wrap-Up Show. Both are brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. Go to freepainoffer.com. $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. Get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. And by Deborah Spears. Great. DeborahSpears.com. Great weight loss tips. Great jewelry. Only on Deborah. DEBRA Spears.com. Juan Marshall and I, thank you for joining us. And don't forget, we wish you all a very happy holiday season. Look forward to great beltway action in the new year. Thanks for joining us. As always, keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.